And then it was over. With the archdemon dead, the Darkspawn horde quickly crumbled. Most fled back into the deep roads. They would remain a threat in the years to come, but the blight had been ended before it had truly begun. Ferelden had been saved, and the entire kingdom rose up to joyously greet its new king. The Grey Wardens stood redeemed, and a new age had begun. But at what cost?
My friends, we are gathered here to pay our respects to the Grey Warden that saved us all. She gave her life to destroy the Blight. A sacrifice we must never forget. It was no accident that she was there either. She was special. And each of us had our life touched by her in some way. She even put me on this throne. Despite my protests. But there was no telling her no, right? The Grey Wardens couldn't have asked for anyone finer. How do you properly honor someone like that? The Grey Wardens are building a magnificent tomb at Weishaupt, right next to Garahels. But I'd like to do something as well. Fergus Kuzland, please step forward. We were very pleased to discover you alive. Your sister thought you had died at Ostagar.
I only wish I had recovered from my wounds sooner.
Fergus, the Highever lands are restored to you. In addition to the Amaranthine Arling that was Arlhouse.
Your Majesty, I would like to give Amaranthine to the Grey Wardens.
I think that would be fitting. Let all know that the Arling of Amaranthine, once the land of Arlhouse, is now granted to the Grey Wardens. There, they can rebuild, and hopefully live up to this example. Friends, let us hope that she has gone on to a better place, and that she knows just how thankful we are for what she has done here. You will be missed. Fare you well.
In the months that followed his coronation, Alistair proved to be a popular king, if largely unwilling to involve himself in matters of governing. He travelled often, making appearances in towns throughout Ferelden to the great delight of the commoners. They referred to him as a king with the common touch, even if a few knew it was a simple aversion to life at court. News that the urn of sacred ashes had been found in Ferelden did not spread outside the Chantry until Brother Genevieve made an announcement several months after the defeat of the Darkspawn. The manuscript detailing his research and his experience with Andraste's cult drew huge interest among the scholars throughout Thedas. Some years later, the Chantry announced that the resting place of Andraste's ashes had indeed been found. A ripple of excitement spread among the pious people of the Thedas, with many undertaking pilgrimages to see the ashes or partake of their healing powers. Following months of effort, the tower of the Circle of Magi was finally cleansed of the last spirits that slipped through the veil. No further abominations were created, and First Enchanter Irving was pleased to declare the circle safe. All that could be saved had been. With the slavers shut down in the alienage, the lot of the city-born elves improved for a time. The new king even named the local elder to his personal court, a scandal amongst the humans, but a sign of new hope to the elves. Shiani continued to be an outspoken member of the alienage community, and in time became the new elder. That outspokenness earned her frequent trouble, but served her people well. Arl Eamon remained in Denerim for some time, acting as Chancellor and Chief Advisor to King Alistair. Tegan ruled over Redcliffe in his stead, and was surprised to find himself well loved by the villagers, who were still grateful for the nights he spent defending their lives. In time, Eamon abdicated in favor of his brother, an event the locals greeted with approval and enthusiasm. The Dalish elves prospered after the siege at Denerim, having earned much respect for their part in the battle. For once, human lands welcomed the wandering folk. The new keeper, Linnea, was respected both amongst the Dalish as well as in the Ferelden court. She was a voice of reason, and other Dalish clans would turn to her to help resolve disputes with human folk. In time, many of the Dalish clans moved to the new land provided for them in the south near Ostagar. Wary of their human neighbors, however, tensions soon rose again, and only Keeper Linnea's leadership kept peace alive. In Orzammar, King Balin quickly proved himself a reformer. Trade with the service lands increased and caste restrictions were loosened. The casteless were permitted to take arms against the Darkspawn in exchange for new freedoms. For the first time in generations, the line in the deep roads was pushed back, and a few tags were reclaimed. Balin's reforms quickly found him enemies within the warrior and noble castes, however, and after several assassination attempts, the assembly was dissolved. The king then ruled alone, some said as a tyrant, others said as a visionary determined to drag Orzammar into the modern world. Brother Burkel's new chantry in Orzammar drew a surprising number of converts among the dwarves. It quickly attracted a great deal of anger from more conservative quarters, and before long the assembly severely restricted the Andrastians' rights. Brother Burkel resisted and was slain while being arrested during a peaceful demonstration in the Commons. The assembly claimed this was an accident, but news of the resulting riots reached the chantry on the surface, where the divine even contemplated a new exalted march. The dwarven mage Dagna ultimately completed her studies at the rebuilt Circle Tower. Eventually, she published a comprehensive theory of how lyrium vapors relate to the supply of magic. It gained a great deal of attention. Although the Anvil of the Void was destroyed, rumors about its location crept into Orzammar. Years later, thanks to the defeat of the Darkspawn on the surface, a few determined smiths managed to locate the Anvil's remains. They examined the ruins of the Anvil, and upon returning to Orzammar with their findings, convinced the Shaper to attempt to recreate Caridin's research. A new golem was created, bound with a spirit taken from the Fade. The golem immediately went insane, killing several Shapers before it was destroyed. The research was branded excessively dangerous and sealed away. Whispers of its existence circulated throughout Orzammar, however, and demand among the Smith caste to reopen Caridin's research refused to abate. True to her word, Morrigan vanished the same night she made her offer at Redcliffe Castle. Someone of Morrigan's description was later seen traveling alone, heading west through the Frostback Mountains. Several years later, tales out of Orlais said that a strange dark-haired mage had insinuated herself within the Empress's court. As for the Grey Wardens, Alistair was as good as his word. The Arling of Amaranthine was given to the Order, and a new headquarters established there. A statue of Sorsha towers over its entrance, in memory of one who made the ultimate sacrifice so that others might live. Sorsha's remains were transported with a full honor guard to the Grey Warden fortress of Weishaupt in the Anderfels. There they were installed in the tomb alongside those of 4 others who have made that same sacrifice to defeat a blight. Wynne remained in service to the throne of Ferelden for a time, politely refusing the position of First Enchanter when it was offered to her. After almost a year, she quietly collected her things and announced that she was journeying to see more of the world before her time came. And then she was gone. Sten returned to his homeland, leaving without a word. Upon reporting to the Arishok of his observations of humanity, Sten was elevated to the rank of general and placed in charge of forces in Saharon, fighting against human insurgents. This pleased Sten greatly. Algren accepted a position as a general in the army of Ferelden, the first dwarf ever promoted so high, and eventually both sobered up and married. When his first daughter was born, Algren held her in his arms and wept, and named her after the friend who had changed his life so long ago. Shiel left Ferelden soon after the battle at Denerim, refusing all offers of reward by the royal court. The golem was not seen again, but rumors abounded of an angry dwarven woman in the far north who hunted pigeons with reckless abandon. Leliana remained at court for a time, penning a ballad dedicated to Sorsha, one that would eventually become known throughout Thedas. But after one performance at the palace, Leliana quietly vanished. Some say she returned to Orlais, but it is not known for certain. As the blighted lands began to heal the Grey Wardens, As the blighted lands began to heal, and the Grey Warden slowly rebuilt the Order in Amaranthine, they discovered that the fight against the Darkspawn was not yet complete. Although the Horde was routed and had dissolved upon the Archdemon's death, many of the more powerful Darkspawn survived to organize roving warbands that preyed both upon the land and upon each other. These warbands spread havoc, and even journeyed west into Orlais or crossed the shining sea by the deep roads they proved incredibly difficult to wipe out. But these are tales for other heroes. The tale of Sorsha ended when she sank the blade into the Archdemon's head and destroyed it forever. Whatever follows, her sacrifice will not soon be forgotten. And there you have it, folks. The end of Dragon Age Origins. I'm pretty sad that my sweet Lady Sorsha had to go, but I feel that's what she would have done. I feel that that's how her story should end. Thank you for sticking with me through this incredible journey, and hope to see you guys in the next episode, because this isn't the end. There are still other campaigns. We still gotta do Witch Hunt, though I don't know how Witch Hunt is really gonna work, because we didn't really make the child thing, right? So, not sure. We gotta do the Darkspawn Chronicles and Leliana's Song, Golems of Amgarak, sorry, and of course Dragon Age Awakening as well. So I will see you guys next time on one of those.